Okay, now that we've talked about all the things that you need to understand as an entrepreneur to get to a point where you've actually pitched an investor, made your pitch, and now the ball pretty much is in their court. You want to do things to help you get this round actually closed. So closing an investment, fundraising, when you're going through the fundraising process, it takes a lot of time. It's very difficult, and it's also very frustrating at times. If you don't have a track record of past successes, you are likely to have to talk to between 6 and 10 prospective investors to just get one person to say less, and it could be more. Generally, if you're raising money as an early stage company, you have to engage and close up to 10 different investors to get the critical mass of funding that you need. Most early stage investors are not going to give you a $2 million check. Some of them may give you a $25,000 or $50,000 check. So if you're trying to raise, let's say $500,000 to get started, that means you need to have 10 people to write you a $50,000 check. So keeping in mind that that ratio of talking to 6 to 10 people, that means if you have to close 10 investors, you could be talking to up to 100 people in order to get that done. That is a lot of work. That's a lot of time. And all that time is taken away from, working on your business. It's a very difficult and very small closing rate, only 10%. Now, over the past several weeks, you've learned how to identify investors and get to a point of actually pitching them. So imagine if you could transform that 10% close rate, which is kind of a historical close rate, to a better rate, let's say 25 or even 75% of the people that you talk to actually close. That would enable you to talk to a lot fewer prospects, and it would take a lot less time. So here's some tips on how do you improve your startup close rate as a startup entrepreneur. So first of all, when you're doing a fundraising, you should always have a date at which that financing will close. It will generate some sense of urgency in the mind of the prospective investor, although not always. Most angels don't really look at the close date as an important date. Some will, but not all. But it's good to have a closing date, so at least you can say to them, okay, we're keeping this funding open for only 2.5 months. So if you're interested in getting in on this deal, you like the industry, you like what we're doing, we need to have a decision by this time frame. And you can maintain flexibility by saying the date of closing will be, let's say, October 31st, 2015, or a date mutually agreeable between the parties. And while you're doing this discussion, some investors may even ask you, okay, who's already said that they would close on this deal? They want to know other people are involved. One of the other ways to improve your closing rate is to maintain flexibility in dealing with non-institutional investors. You can offer a couple of different options for the terms of financing, like different thresholds of time or different repayment schedules, that kind of thing. And always have a minimum investment amount. $25,000 is, in my view, the lowest possible investment amount you should accept. Now, there are always exceptions for, let's say, your best friend from college or your brother-in-law or whatever. But my point is that you need to have some kind of a minimum threshold. That means you don't have to talk to so many people to obtain your required funding amount. If you've talked to an investor more than once, meaning if you're in your second discussion, at the end of that meeting, more than likely they've already more or less decided what they're doing. So you should ask the question, have I answered all your questions? Do you have any remaining concerns about making an investment in us? And that will normally invoke a response from the investor that will give you a pretty good idea whether they're really going to make an investment or not. It's good to know that, because if their response indicates that they're not going to make an investment, then move on. Go to somebody and talk to somebody who will. So remember that you want to ask the question at the end of your second meeting, do you have any more concerns? Do you have any more doubts? Do you have any more questions? If not, then hopefully you're to the point where you can ask them for a check. Once an investor has decided to make an investment in your company, quit selling the deal. They've already made the decision. Just step back, tell them him or her you'll send the papers, the documents that they need to execute You'll send them the wiring instructions, or you'll tell them what address to mail a check to if they're writing you a check. Stop selling, start getting the investment actually closed. And don't forget to ask for the check, right? The purpose that your discussion there is that you can actually have an investor write a check. So their expectations are that you're going to ask for one, and so you should ask for it. One of the suggestions is that you can say to them at the appropriate time, okay, do you plan to wire the funds to me, or do you want to write a check? That could be considered a little bit cheeky in some circles, but it's a good question. And they may say, oh, I'm going to wire. Okay. Remember, an investment is never closed until the money's in your bank. So to summarize this whole process, let's talk about the things that you should remember. Number one, if the thesis of the investor doesn't fit what you're doing, you're wasting your time. So when you're putting together your investment list, make sure that you have a list of what I call could-be investors. People that if you do your job right and you explain your opportunity correctly, they would be willing to invest because it fits into their investment thesis. Treat them like they've already invested in your company. Start talking to them about, oh, we had 10% growth in sales this month, and we're looking forward to updating you on the results of this, our financial summary at the end of the month, and can you participate in our conference call? Talk to them as if they've already invested. It helps, believe me. And then ask them for the check. That's the purpose of your discussion with them. Don't wait for them to offer it up. They almost never do. So that concludes the course on how do you get a new venture financed. I hope you've enjoyed going through the lectures. I've certainly enjoyed giving them. I want to say that I'd like to hear from some of you, whether or not these techniques were useful to you, how you incorporated them into some of your discussions with prospective investors. And I want to hear about successes. And I also would like to hear about things that maybe didn't work so well for you. Whatever happens, I've enjoyed doing this. I look forward to engaging you online again at some point in the future. And I wish you every success in raising money for your new venture.